Here we are on the first floor of the exhibition My Friend the Art, and I'm Egill Sæbjörnsson, walking you through the exhibition. So what we see are sculptures that you think that you might have seen 1,000 times, and you might think, oh, that's boring, I've seen that. Like classic 20th century sculptures. But as you walk in and you go closer, you might start to see some details happening and evolving. And here you see small flaps opening and closing onto a sculpture called Macho Sculpture of the 80s. And what we are actually watching is a real sculpture made out of plaster, but with a video projection that is generative, projecting new details that never repeat, because you can stand there and watch it and it's always going to be something new. Here is the Crying Macho Sculpture from the 90s, from 2014. It's one of my earlier generative works, and here we see kind of a classic sculpture, but upon closer look a different life is revealed, where we see drops, possibly tears, running down the sides of the sculpture. This work was made in a time of crisis in my life, and I felt like I just wanted it to put tears onto everything, because all I wanted it to do was cry. And here we see the macho sculpture of the 80s with the little flaps. So all the shadows and the light that we see is projected with two projectors from each side of the sculpture. And in the back we see a sculpture called Macho Sculpture of the 50s. Yeah, here we see the flaps opening and closing. And beside it is the newest piece in the lower floor of the exhibition. It's called Big Rock, and it's also a massive plaster sculpture, and from far away it looks like a big rock, but if you come closer you see all this life on it, and it's also a generative work, and it has a little society of beetles and plants, as if they were growing and living on this rock or a sculpture. And in a way it's a nice collision between a rock and a sculpture. So maybe some rock was the first sculpture, who knows? Somewhere all these things must come from. And also in my book Stones According to Egill Sæbjörnsson from 2012, I make an attempt to show that life actually comes from magma, or at least it did not just happen by magic somewhere in the ocean. So this is kind of like a nice illustration of that. I think it happened without me kind of planning it. But yeah, those little beetles, they just crawl around and appear and disappear, and new plants come and go. So you watch it over a longer time, never repeating. There are also other things that appear, such as cars, little cars, and things that we don't connect with nature, but that are, of course, direct ascendant from lava as well, just through the hands of humans. And so everything on this planet is this little wonder that has grown out of this planet. And yeah, in a way, this sculpture represents the planet the way it is. And there we see a little quote: "We come from magma, not single cells. If we see ourselves as the descendants of lava rather than descendants of single-celled organisms, we can relate our family's ties to an inanimate matter. By erasing the line between living and dead materials, we create a new scope on the universe we live in." And by doing that, we can also see that art is a species that we coexist with, and artworks are not only objects that we make, but more force that we are in a relationship with, just like we are in relationship with everything else in this universe. Here we see the breathing surface of this macho sculpture from the 50s. By putting the soft-colored carpet onto the floor of this hall, and by putting the colored carpet and curtains on the floor above, we were underlining, me and the curator Silke Karl Martinesen, were underlining the importance of feeling engulfed and welcomed by this creature, the art, or as I call it in this exhibition, my friend, the art.